And we use the Innocence Organic Beauty Color Awakening Cleanser. Now, a lot of you sometimes may think that because tight curls may be more dehydrated or they need more moisture, that you would start out with the Hydrating Cream Hair Bath in the Innocence line. The reason why we started with the Color Awakening is because it had been a few days since she had cleansed and conditioned. She had some products in her hair. We wanted to make sure that everything was removed from her hair. The conditioner we used was the Clarity Conditioner because it has great slip, and you see the weight that it gives her curls to kind of lay exactly where we want them to. So we started here so that we could really give you a taste of what a hydrating define looks like. So the hydration happens in this conditioning process when we're detangling and getting the full saturation of her tight curls in the product and in water. So Cheryl, I'm going to have you lay back. Get comfy back here in the bowl. We're going to rinse all of her conditioner out. And I know that is counter to a lot of curl education, but here's why we're going to rinse all of it out. If we have a cream and we have it under a gel, we're much more likely to have white film build up and kind of like white hair boogers. And we don't want those with tight curls, especially because...
Did you say hair boogers?
I said hair boogers. I had them yesterday. I was trying something out. We want to rinse all that conditioner from the hair. And this is exactly what we're looking for that hair to absorb water. Now, everyone's hair is not going to look like Cheryl. Cheryl has been a consistent client of the Curl Theory Salon and Susan Wagner, the owner of it. So she is in a great place with her tight curls. You will encounter some clients who have dehydrated hair, whose hair will look like it's repelling water. That's okay too. A lot of times those clients just need to work on their healthy hair care practices and cleansing and conditioning more. There's not really a product or a treatment that's going to do better than just time and consistency.
Can you explain that a little bit? So you said dehydrated hair, but it repels water. I would think that it would want to absorb the water if it was dehydrated.
Well, the reason the hair is dehydrated oftentimes is because the product use and lack of cleansing in between. So when we think about tight curls and natural hair, there's an entire community of consumers online that are peer sharing information. And there's this thought process that oils and butters and creams add moisture to the hair. But you take hair that has not been cleansed fully, and then you add heavy oils and butters and conditioners to that hair, and then don't cleanse it again. Over time, water, it's just build up.
So it just can't even get in there. So the hair is dry because you're just sitting on the surface. Absolutely. And then the moisture, the water can't even penetrate.
Mm-hmm. So you'll see little water beads on that hair, but you don't see that with Cheryl because her hair is actually absorbing some water, and we see it kind of dripping out, and her hair starts to frizz out. That's perfectly normal behavior of tight curls. But what you also want to recognize that we want to capture the curl we saw with the water and the curl we saw with the conditioner. And so after rinsing out that conditioner, I'm immediately going to go to my stylers because that's going to lock in the water in the hair and lock in the form of the curl. So I'm going to give her a little bit more water.
Question.
Yep.
Kristen Blasingame is asking, should we try a clarifying shampoo with clients like you mentioned that maybe have the buildup from the oils and the butters?
You can. We actually would take you through a whole curl rehab process if the client needs it. So we're going to start at this really wet phase. I'm going to start adding the I Create Hold gel, which is an aloe-based gel. So we call it a botanical.
All the products you're working with today are from Innocence Organic
Absolutely.
Beauty. And is that something you work with exclusively?
I don't work with anything exclusively. I'm actually brand agnostic. My loyalty is to the results of the client. What I have found, though, that Innocence is one of my go-to lines to make sure that I can execute on my clients and that they are able to live out in the world with amazing hair. So I'm going to add I Create Hold. A lot of us are not adding enough products to tight curl. So this is what I'm going to start.
So is this technically like a gel?
This is a gel. It's a very kind of thick consistency gel and has great hold in it. Y'all can see my hair. I actually have this in my hair today.
Yeah, your curls look beautiful.
Thank you. So I'm going to actually apply.
So I Create Hold from Innocence Organic Beauty. For those of you just joining, we're coming to you guys live from Murfreesboro, Tennessee at the Curl Theory Salon. We are with Elise Olarvia. And she's educating us today on defining and hydrating curly hair, and she's focusing on using Innocence Organic Beauty. So we're going to walk you through the whole process.
Okay, so get that I Create Hold really distributed in your hands, warm it up. I'm going to start applying on her whole head, on her ends. and really working it into the water that's already in her hair.
So no towel drying. You're putting this on
Absolutely
totally
no towel
saturated
drying.
hair.
It's really important to work with tight curls in their very wet state with intersense.
And no detangling, nothing.
Well, we detangled her when she had her
okay, when the conditioner,
on,
before we started, sorry.
already detangled, so you can use a tool, you can use your fingers, whatever is effective for the client in front of you.
So when we started, for those of you that are watching, there was conditioner in the hair because her hair had already been shampooed, conditioned, detangled, and now we're going into the styling process.
Yeah. So we're going to add a little bit more Hydrating hold to our hands, work it into that hair. So I'm going now from mids up to the root. Lay your head down for me.
So Kristen is not far from Murfreesboro, and she's wondering if you guys offer any private classes here. And I know you don't live here, but do you do some classes here, or does the Curl Theory do classes here?
The Curl Theory do classes here?
Yes, we do.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
The Curl Theory,
does.
Murfreesboro.
Susan is actually a mentor stylist for Cut Kinky, and we have held group classes here. Usually group classes are anywhere from between 6 to 12 people because it's very important to learn corporally because you want to have more than one tight curl model. Sherelle's hair that we're working with today is just Sherelle's hair. And so every tight curly that you see is going to be a little bit different, but the techniques remain the same. It's just how do you apply them to that person. That depends on not the fact that their hair is tight curly, but the fact that what their density is, what their hydration level is, what their curl pattern is, what's the condition of the hair, what's the integrity of the strand. So those things matter just as in all hair.
So a little recap from Mary McLeod. She's wondering about the process again. So the hair was washed. Can you walk through again? She wants to know if you rinse the conditioner out.
All of the conditioners out, but we cleansed her with the Color Awakening hair bath, and then we conditioned her with the Clarity conditioner, which is actually a fragrance-free conditioner. But it has the most slip out of all the intersensitive conditioners, which is amazing when you're working with the detangling tight curls. We rinse all of that conditioner out of the hair. And again, I know that we think a lot of times that conditioner and creams and things are moisture. Water is moisture. And your conditioner, if it's a good quality conditioner, is going to pull all the water into that hair and leave behind the humectants and the emollients that hair needs. And so you should be able to, with the quality of your conditioner, rinse it all out because it's going to leave what it needs to leave in the hair. And because we're applying her styler right on very wet hair, and then we're incorporating more water into her styler. And so we want to make sure that we have saturation of product. I like to compare product saturation for tight curls the way we do color. We would never have a speck of hair that was uncovered with your color products. Because what's that going to happen? You're going to have splotches and the hair color is going to be uneven. Same with tight curls. If you don't have full saturation of your styler, you're going to have areas that are frizzy and expand and are not consistent with the other areas.
So right now you consistently applied I Create Hold here.
Yeah.
I saw you just add even a little bit more water.
Yeah, so I'm adding a little bit more water because I want to change the consistency. It's really thick, and Sherelle's hair is actually the essential, we like to call the essential elements of her hair, which are just the things that are in your cosmetology book. She has medium strands. They're a little bit on the finer side of medium. She has a silkier surface texture, which is just smoother and reflects light more. She's a bit lower density. She's on kind of the medium low density side. She has a tight wave. So her hair is tight wavy. It doesn't spiral, curl. It just is a tight wave. And so when thinking about all those different aspects of her hair, I want to dilute the product just a little bit more so that it doesn't glump up on her hair. I know that's not a word, but I like to use that because it makes a very good sound of what you would see if you had too much concentrated product on the hair.
Now, as I was reading through some of your stuff in your bio, you said you don't really use the curl alphabet.
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about that. You know, it's really interesting because it's like, I remember first hearing about that and thinking, okay, well, let me be open-minded, be educated, and then thinking it is kind of narrow to put people into these like little like numbers and letters. So I was kind of refreshed to hear that you felt the same way because I didn't know if I was like off base or whatever.
What I find is very interesting that there are a lot of professional companies now trying to use the curl alphabet, and we don't know where it started from. So there's a book named Andre Talks Hair that Andre Walker, Oprah's hairstylist in the 90s, wrote. And he wrote it to help consumers understand their hair more and also to market his products. And so he separated hair into type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4 based on the curl pattern because that's how the hair looks. But curl pattern is one of the things that's the least important about how to care for and how to style hair at all. The curl pattern just shows what it's going to look like when you get finished. So the degree of her curl, the tightness of her curl is just what's going to look like when we finish. But that doesn't impact what products I choose. It doesn't impact how I use them. If her hair, again, is medium strand, medium to low density, tight wave, that's her curl pattern, and she desires to wear her hair a certain way, I'm going to use the products that I need to use based on what she wants. So we got the Hydrating hold on right now. Really good saturation. So this is what I want to see. I want to see each one of those hair strands encapsulated in product. I haven't yet started raking my fingers through her hair to get any definition. I just want to have saturation of product. Now we're going to use some of the Hydrating definition. Thank you. Okay.
Let's get it quick.
Okay. Hydrating definition styling foam. Now, I know we're used to using a lot of product. This is
Especially when it comes to foam. I've seen people just like really saturate the hair with
go
foam.
at it. We're not doing that with this. This is a very, very, very concentrated foam. And on tight curls, I like to use it as a topper. I don't typically use it directly on the hair unless the client wants a very voluminous, less defined look. We're going for a very contained and long-lasting look. So we're going for maybe we may kick it out to 7 days depending upon the humidity here in Murfreesboro. So I'm going to add 2 pumps. My hands are a little wet, so I'm trying not to drop it. That's it for the entire head. I'm going to show you how it distributes throughout. It's going to get it really nice and warmed up in my hands.
You're getting a shout out from Raven Camacho.
Hey,
Happy
Raven,
to see
how you
Cut
doing?
It. He's very happy to see Cut It Kinky on Hairbrain. So are we. We came all the way to Murfreesboro, Tennessee to make it happen.
All the travel. So thank you for coming here. All right, so I'm just going to apply it same way I did that Hydrating hold. And you see how I'm just looking for the slight shift in consistency, the slight shift in the way that product is working with that hair. You see how that hair kind of went from more expanded to less expanded? That's all I wanted to do. And that doesn't take a lot of product. Go on this side, just make sure it's fully saturated through. Okay, and this is the fun part where the client gets to sit up. And you as a stylist can either do their hair at your station, or for me, I like to not move around that much. So I'm just going to style her right here at the bowl. So I'm going to direct her part. What side is your part on? Can I do this side? Your part's on this side? Okay.
All right, so if you're just joining us, we're here at the Curl Theory Salon in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We came here to meet up with the Cut It Kinky star herself, and she's walking us through styling.
No, actually. I would use clips if she was a bit more high density, had some more length. But right now, with the way her hair is, I think we're okay not using clips.
Tyler Hastings is wondering, do you always apply the products on bigger sections? About how much Hydrating hold did you use?
I do apply on the whole head, then I'll break it down first. Because if you take a little section like this and just start applying products individually to it, you're going to end up with too much product. InterSense is that concentrated. How much did I use? I actually don't count usually. I use enough to saturate. So it's almost like mixing a bowl of 1 tube of color and the equal amount of developer. Is that enough? Maybe. Is it too much? Maybe. But you want to have just enough for the hair that's in front of you. And you can always go mix more.
Seemed like you had about a palm full of Hydrating hold, and then just kind of work 2 palmfuls. Yeah.
And so for her length, for her density, that was enough to saturate her hair. Now for myself, I have a little bit higher density hair. We have similar curl patterns.
And the curl looks incredible today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just did it this morning. And diffused it. And it's actually dry. But yeah, for her, I'm going to use that 2 palms. Probably for me, it's about 4 because I like a lot of products.
Okay, now you've got the I Create definition in the hair.
Yes,
and this you used more sparingly.
Yes, because it's so concentrated that if you use too much, that hair will start to expand. And that is not her desired finish.
Now walk us through what you're doing with your hands, how you're manipulating the hair.
So I'm taking a diagonal part that's parallel to the hairline. Pretty small part, again, depending upon her density. And I am raking my fingers through, not to be tight and squish, but I'm really going
You're not
loosely.
pulling it, just gently raking.
Gently raking, gently smoothing through her hair, and I'll sit it down. And so I like to do a diagonal because you won't see the partings when she gets dry. So I'm going to do that same thing kind of like in this little back area. She's a bit shorter in this back. This a graduated bob or a taper bob? Graduated bob. Okay. I'm like, it's short under there, so I wasn't quite sure, but I know it's getting hot, and everybody likes to do their summer undercuts. I'm headed there myself.
I don't blame you.
And so when I get to the ends, if it's just a little bit kind of not tangled but grouped up, I like to open up those curls. I'll smooth them with my hand. I'll go back in and rake, and then sit it down.
And adding no additional product. Everything was from when she was back in the bowl. You got it really well distributed, and now you're just really defining.
Yes, I am. I actually will add a little bit of product if I need to, but that is really why it's key to get that distribution of product in there before you go into this process. It just makes it faster.
Do you need to get any product like right in at the scalp?
It depends on the aesthetic.
Yeah.
I like a little bit of looseness at the scalp just to give some volume. Because if I just kind of slapped her down and she's so silky and kind of lower density, I would just have flat on the scalp like that.
It would kind of glue it to the head.
Yeah,
we
don't want that today. She's like, no, don't do that to me, please.
Mary McLeod says, this is so nice. Thank you for sharing your curl wisdom.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm glad you're here on this early Sunday morning. You could be anywhere on our Facebook.
And thanks to Innocence Organic Beauty for organizing it, getting us together with Elise here while we're in Nashville.
Yes, and if you're in Nashville, the texture tour is tomorrow at the Renaissance Nashville downtown. It is a beautiful hair show, but not hair show. It's more of a intimate curl education and texture education. So there's 4 instructors doing all different curl patterns. I am actually doing a demonstration on a tight curl bob. Aaron Scott Lacey is doing the quadrupoint pixie that can be done curly, straight, anyway, because it's an amazing kind of quirky little pixie. Erin Nelson is doing the razor cut on curls, and I know that is really controversial, but she does a beautiful job in showing you how to safely razor cut curls. And then Lonnie Jean Lafreniere, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
I've been through that myself. This is my lot in life is to try to pronounce people's names.
I love it. She is teaching curly styling. I think she does a cut with hers as well. So you've got people working with all different types of hair, different types of philosophies with that hair, and it's just a really fun day. We've done London, San Francisco, Chicago, and Dallas. Nashville is our second to last stop on the road, and then we're going to go to New York in September.
Teresa Haynes is wondering, can your model's hair be shampooed every 3 days with a gentle shampoo?
It can be. It can definitely be done every 3 to 4 days with the Innocence Hydrating Cream Hair Bath. I like to think of the Hydrating Cream Hair Bath as a midway, really perfect midway between a co-wash, which to me, co-washing is a verb, not a noun. Something that you do, but it has enough surfactant in it to get the hair clean, but not too much to really strip that hair of necessary oils. So in a climate like here in Murfreesboro, and she's like, she does walks outside, so she's going to probably need to cleanse, condition, and style every 3 to 4 days.
Now, we've been working with Innocence, and we've seen it really used by Lonnie Jean and yourself a lot on curly hair. I know, obviously, as you mentioned, great products should be pretty versatile for all textures, but what makes it so good for curly hair?
The ingredients and the commitment to excellence of formulation. The ingredients are very healthy. I have a lot of allergies, a lot of scent allergies, lots of preservative allergies, and it's a very gentle line on both my client's hair and my skin. It's performance though. With the formulations, Greg, the one of the owners, Greg and Joanne, hey y'all, is very serious about the product efficacy because they're both hairstylists, and so it has to be good for the body and good for the business.
And what I found really interesting getting to know the Starkmans was that they wanted to develop something that not only would be great and healthy for consumers that are using it, but thinking about hairdressers that are using it 100 times more. It's one thing to, be at home and use a pump of something once a day or a spritz of something once a day. But if you think about being in a professional environment, you're inundated with product all the time. So if there is something about it that is toxic, imagine how much more we would suffer from it. So, it was kind of the first time I heard someone really express it that way. It's not just like marketing, because we all know it sounds great to say, oh, it's clean for consumers, but to say, hey, as hairdressers, we want to make sure our fellow hairdressers, can work safe.
Absolutely.
I was really impressed with that and getting to know them. If you guys want to hear more about that, head over to the Hairbrain Conversations podcast. I did a really deep conversation with the Starkmans about their philosophy and really everything.
So I'm getting this last little back section in the crown. And sometimes the crown's just a little bit more tangling than everything else. That's normal. So to get a tangle out, I'm not going to pull. I'm just going to gently open and separate because that is a shed hair. That is a shed hair, or especially with fine hair, that hair is just wrapped around another curl. Just want to gently move it around.
So when the conditioner was in, you already detangled. Did you just use your fingers, or did you use a comb, or?
I use my fingers for her. Most of the time I would use a brush, but she actually had just done her hair not that long ago, and so I really didn't need to come at it with a brush. So we're going this side, we're going that way. Okay.
So you're just really even thinking about the direction as you kind of rake through?
Yes. So we hear a lot of times that stylists didn't learn tight curls in cosmetology school. Cosmetology school was there to teach you the basics.
We'll teach you to pass the test.
I mean, the basics, because you need the basics to pass the test, yes. But we learned roller sets. We definitely learned perm rod sets. We learned half on base, half off base. We learned some of those foundational setting theory tools that applies the same way with tight curls. We're taking styling product with hold. We are setting on a base, which is the base of the scalp right here, and I can either over direct, I can under direct to make it flatter, or I can just bring it out 90 to the head and then set down, smooth it, same way we do it with a roller set, smooth it, set it down, let that curl pop back up. And so the theory stays the same. We just have to reach back to the things we know we learned and apply them to a new canvas. So I'm gonna head right back over this so I can style the top of her head.
If you're just joining us, we're here at the Curl Theory Salon with Elise Olarvia, representing Inner Sense Beauty. Elise is the founder of Cut It Kinky. Tell us a little bit more about Cut It Kinky.
So Cut It Kinky is an offshoot of Black Girl Curls. So myself and my business partner Aisha came together in 2015 and published an article in a blog named blackdoctor.org and pissed the internet off.
Uh-oh.
I said,
You don't want to do that.
woo! I said for people who have natural hair to stop using raw shea butter and raw coconut oil in their hair. And the internet went wild. We realized there was a lot of communication needed for consumers. So 2015, fast forward to 2017, we had a lot of folks under our education, and they're like, okay, so now we're the stylists. Who can I go to work with my hair that knows what you know and can do my hair the way you do your clients? And we turned around, there really was nobody. So we created training for stylists to understand both the end user, the consumer, because natural hair is a consumer-driven business where it's not about us feeling good about what we're doing, it's about our clients getting the best service. And so we've been training stylists since 2017 to understand both the curls and the culture of tight curls.
Tell us again about, the raw shea butter and the raw, I've heard everything, olive oil, coconut oil,
All of this.
and I think honestly, what you said is, because the consumer was ignored by professional products for so long that they took it into their own hands. Would you agree that it was like, I got to figure out what I'm going to use for my tight curl because there's nothing out there that works?
Absolutely. So I went natural in 2003, before there was right at the beginning of the forums and the blogs and the vlogs. And nobody could go into a salon and say, hey, do this to my hair, and it looks good. So people were crowdsourcing about hydration, about moisture with this canvas that they were being reintroduced to. A lot of folks had not seen their natural hair since they were 5, 7, 10. And so they're finding this new thing that they can't get help with. So they're just sharing cultural practices from other cultures. They're sharing some old wives' tales. And so things happen that were not influenced by actual hair theory, hair science, and our current modern understanding of formulations. And so that happened I started doing natural hair in 2010 professionally, and realizing that even 13 years later, we are still encountering some of the same things because of how popular the marketing part of it came. I have a whole 2-hour class on this. But what we as professionals have to realize is that we're guests in the culture. And while we do understand hair, we don't particularly know or understand our clients' stories. And it's so important that we hear their stories, we embrace their stories, we don't downplay their stories, that we understand where they came from and also help them to get to where they're going. Can we prep the dryer? She's good and ready to go.
Question from Teresa Haynes. I'm not sure if I understand it completely the way it's written, but what about if only using a foam? Will using hydrating hair bath every 2 days dry out the model's hair?
Number one, I don't think the model probably wants to do her hair every 2 days. When we think about lifestyles and we think about hair care, we don't necessarily want to have our clients in their hair every other day. I want to understand, number one, why would we want that? And then two, with the foam, we could, but we wouldn't have the result that the client themselves is seeking. So there's so many different ways we can go with that. I'd have to know more information.
Can we talk a little bit about the dryer? The setting.
Oh, this is the super dryer?
Ooh, it looks like Darth Vader's helmet. You ever see the movie Spaceballs? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it does look like Spaceballs.
Wow, look.
So this is amazing. I've never seen this before.
Oh man.
This is the dryer I usually use. But she got the new.
Suzanne, tell us, this is Suzanne, the owner of Curl Theory. So tell us about this dryer, because it's amazing.
Well, it's actually a processor, so we actually can do chemicals under it, perms under it. If you notice, it has red light, so we can dry, and the red light helps grow your hair back. So we can do a treatment.
Oh, so is that infrared?
Infrared light with
Really?
lasers in it.
Okay, so it's multi-use.
It's multi-use,
Okay.
and it has.
Is that like an upgrade service?
This is an upgrade service. We
That I become accustomed to.
Yeah.
This is my
But
regular.
the cool thing about this dryer, it will give a diffused dryer experience.
Oh.
And so we usually will do them 30 minutes under this, and then we'll switch them to the express dryer.
Okay, everyone wants to know who makes it, where do you get it?
So
The technology.
these dryers, you
Lux Therapy.
you can't get them in the United States, and so far I can't get them anymore. But yeah,
Is it from Asia or something like that? Or yeah, they always come up with the best stuff.
Okay, so for the people who are in the U.S. that can't get access to this,
So how did you get it? Did you have?
I happened to be at a show, IBS show in New York, and someone had it, and they were drying hair, and they was like, "Oh, it'll dry hair naturally," and I was just like, "Ah!" But it took me like a year and a half to resource it and
Really?
track it down to get it in the United States. It was very extremely high drama.
Wow.
But because we have a lot of clients that have long hair, so that was our inspiration, because now I can get when
oh,
the hair
comes down
yes,
like
it comes
the back
down.
part. Okay.
So we can pump them up in there, so if the hair is sitting on the shoulders, I can get that air dried pretty quickly.
So tell us.
And it'll switch to blue too.
Oh.
So the cool thing about blue, it will kill bacteria and inflammation. So if our clients have dandruff or inflamed scalps, we can calm that down with the blue light therapy as well.
Okay.
So we can.
Sounds like you need to become an importer,
Okay.
a distributor.
New business.
I don't know if you need another business, but
No, for the folks who are in the U.S. who can't get access to that, this is what we're typically using
Yeah.
in the salon. As a dryer, which is the Collins Tempura, because of its really wide head and the fact that most of the hair can really fit under there without being squished, and the air is really put throughout, so it's a lot faster drying, unless that client is just really, really dehydrated. But the clients are going to be under the dryer for as long as they're under the dryer, because that is going to be how their hair is finished.
now talk about why the dryer. I mean, obviously we're so used to, well, let's be modern. We'll use our diffuser, or we'll use 2 diffusers or 10 diffusers. Why the dryer?
The dryer is because with tight curls, you are capturing a very tight curl, essentially, in the product. You want to expedite the drying process to form the cast. Now, we are going to diffuse her a little bit, just to get that root area, just to get a little bit of fluffing, but spending a lot of time diffusing tight curls oftentimes brings you with a much fuller, bigger, more voluminous finish, and a lot of times clients prefer their longevity over that volume. My hair is actually, this is mostly diffused, it's still a little wet. It's been a lot of air drying, but I hover diffuse. So if you have a client who doesn't have a hood dryer at home and wants to dry their hair, I hover diffuse. There's no
Bake it
there's none of
in
this.
place and don't futz with
There's
it.
none of this. I'm literally standing there like that.
Trying to get the airflow down, and
Down that hair.
it's just so interesting. It's like a lot of the stuff, people with curly hair, I believe it or not, I have pretty curly hair. Over the years, you kind of discover it on your own. Like the word cast, like you always think, put some product in with a good hold, let it dry, don't touch it.
Yes.
And once you have that cast in, which is the term, that curl's like set, then you can start to kind of manipulate it a bit. So this is like putting it into a technique.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, again, let's go back to roller sets. When you did your 9-section roller set in school, you took the rollers out when the hair was dry. The curl set that we just did, the tight curl set, we took the natural curl, added product, and now we're getting it dry. Anything that we want to do in building volume or making it bigger or styling more, you want to do that once the cast is there. You want to do that once that cast is there. Because right now that I have kind of this firmer, crunchier cast, I can do a little bit of zhuzhing, a little bit of going
And
into that scalp.
it also adds to the duration if you start off with a good cast, right?
Yes. And so a lot of times for clients, I'm instructing them is if you want longevity, and for me as a stylist, longevity means 4 to 7 days, depending upon your look and the condition of your hair and your desires. The length of your hair and the desires of the client, to let the cast live. Let that cast live. Let life break it. As soon as I go to sleep tonight in my Afrona,
Wait, what's that?
What's that? What's the Afrona? Oh, Susan. Real quick. So, you know what a buff is, right?
Yes.
So, I use an Afrona. Do you use a broken home?
No, I just lay down and go for it.
Okay, so I do too sometimes, but when I'm really like my first day here and I have something to do tomorrow, like texture tour, I take what you've seen on Neck Gator, the buffs.
Yeah.
The Frona is similar, but it's set line. It's set line. It's kind of a stretchy material. It has strings on the end that you can tie it, and then you can actually wear it as a hat. So it's a small independent company. I want to say out of Boston. That's Afrona. And it's just a sleeve, and I'll put it back when I go to sleep.
Interesting. So let's talk again about the products. Can we go back over and look at them and walk through? So guys, if you're just joining us, we're here at the Curl Theory Salon. Our model is drying under the Darth Vader helmet, this incredible dryer. I'm so glad to have kind of discovered that here. And we are here with Elise Olarvia. She's representing Innocence Organic Beauty today. She's got her own education called Cut It Kinky. And she's been really schooling us on hydrating and defining curly hair. Now, I know a lot of you had questions about the product line, so she's going to walk you back through what she used and how she used it.
Okay, so first we cleansed with the Color Awakening Hair Bath. I find this to be kind of an all-purpose mid-range cleanser in the Innocence brand. Again, great for color-treated hair, great for hair that has a little bit of buildup in it, not too much. Gives a great cleanse without over-cleansing that hair. Then,
Are there several different cleansers in the line?
yes, so there is Pure Harmony, which what I find is the most cleansing cleanser in their line. So somebody who has very oily scalp, somebody that cleanses and works out a lot, Pure Harmony is likely for them. I tend to like it for a straight, fine, kind of lower density hair to really kind of give it some I speak a lot of sounds. The Color Awakening is the next strongest cleanser. Then you have the Hydrating Cream Hair Bath, which is going to be your mid-range between a co-wash and a moisturizing shampoo. So that is the original lineup for Innocence Organic Beauty. At least to me, that's the original lineup. Then there have been some really new additions that have been great to the line. The Clarity Hair Bath, which is fragrance-free, and it is a moisturizing cleanser. So it's going to take away what it needs to, but it's going to leave some humectants and emollients in that hair. And then the Right Balance, that is our purple shampoo, a purple cleanser, that is going to balance out some unwanted brassy tones in lightened and lighter hair.
Now, what makes Innocence Organic Beauty so special? It seems like the people that I've worked with that work with the brand really feel like there's something different about the products that makes them special. What is it to you?
What is it to me? I'm actually very simple. It works. It works, no matter who.
Well, and that's the funny thing, because for many years we had this thing in professional hairdressing that you can either have performance or you can have it be healthy. Like if you buy it from the health food store, it's probably not going to work that well. But you know, you have to buy it. It's got to have toxic and petrochemicals and all this stuff into it to perform. But you're saying that you don't find that with Innocence.
No, it lacks the things I don't want in my products, or the things that my clients don't want in their products, but it performs, and that is such a major thing for me. I've been a stylist professionally for 13 years, licensed for 17. I built my business out of Chicago, being one of the first people to do curly cuts in the city, and the first Black diva stylist in the city. So my name held weight. And it was always my search to find a product line that could match the results I know I can get if I just grab something that has things in it that I'm allergic to and my clients don't want to use on their hair. And you're right, I went to the health food store, I went to Target, I went to small independent brands, and what I did find that worked for me and my clients and our desired results was Intersense. And although I'm not brand exclusive and I'm brand agnostic, it is a major part of the back bar because I can grab 4 products. And regardless of whether I'm anywhere, this is all I traveled with today. I came from Atlanta. I'm headed to Chicago in about an hour.
And then you're coming back for
And then
tomorrow?
I'm coming back for tomorrow.
You're crazier than me.
Yeah. So this is all I traveled with. I kind of came in one little Zuka bag, but I could create the results that we did on our model. So that means so much to me with a company that actually cares about stylists, who we get a regular 50% wholesale on our purchases. There are rewards program that if you are in a certain tier, there's an event. I haven't been to it yet because honestly, personally, I don't retail because I'm mostly an educator, not a stylist. That they go to Miraval and have an amazing retreat. And so this is a company that both takes care of your health, your client's hair, and you as a business.
How did you discover the brand? Did you just find it? What's your personal story?
My personal story. So some of my first really in-depth in curls beyond tight curls was working with curly hair artistry with Scott Musgrave in 2015. 2015. And Greg, one of the Starkmans, came to that event. He sponsored our dinner and did an entire product formulation class. I was enamored at the geekdom that happened in this class. And
He can get serious about it.
We
Yeah.
got really granular, and I was impressed at both the performance, and this was before even the debut of the Hydrating line. I was impressed with the performance. At the time, I want to say the color conditioner had Lysols, and it was like, I can't use this on tight curls, it's gonna get stuck. And when Hydrating came out, it was like, that's my jam, that's my line, and let's go. So I got to test it out in a real life educational situation on multiple curl patterns, and I was very impressed at what I saw. And I've just seen the brand grow and actually listen to stylists as stylists were requesting, we need more of this, we need more of that, we need more education. They're very serious about efficacy and education.
All right, so after you cleansed with the Color Awakening hair bath, next step was?
Clarity conditioner. So this is actually one of the newest on the lineup. There is the Color Radiance conditioner, the Pure Harmony conditioner, which are a little bit lighter, don't have as much slip. The Hydrating cream conditioner, which is super creamy and emollient. It just doesn't have very much slip to it. So oftentimes I'll add it to either Clarity or Color Radiance. And then I think there's a Bright Balance conditioner again, which is purple tone.
So when we started the video, that's the stage. Your model had the Clarity conditioner in her hair.
Yes.
Now, at this stage, when you're working with tighter curl, you go ahead and leave it in while you detangle.
Yes. So I get a really good saturation of water and conditioner. And oftentimes I will just clip up the section I'm not working in because I want that hair to sit in the conditioner for a minute. I want it to kind of absorb and do its thing. So I'm not deep conditioning, I'm not putting them under a dryer, not putting them under a steamer. I'm just leaving it in that hair, kind of twisting it up, and I'm just handling probably a section that's about the size of my hand that I can maintain going from the ends up. And so I leave it on, so by the time I'm done, that's 5 to 10 minutes. They're back in the bowl being rinsed out.
How long does the whole process take? Like if someone books just for cleanse and styling, is there an average amount of time, or do you really have to,
That is going to depend on the status of the client. So a new client is not able to come in with just a Hydrating Define. We have to start out in a new client service. We're going to start with the cut. We're going to start with a Hydrating Define. That's usually a 2-hour service. Now, if the client is established and they book a Hydrating Define, that's usually about 45 minutes. It's just a regular shampoo set or shampoo blow dry.
Oh, so that's not excessive.
No.
I know sometimes it's like, it seems like it's an all-day event.
No, that has more to do with the skill of the person doing the hair. Unless that hair is just beyond. And hair is beyond at any curl pattern, any density, anywhere else. And so just knowing what you're doing is so important. It does not take away.
All right, and then you went into the I Create Hold.
Yes, which a full saturation with I Create Hold with water all throughout that hair. Again, just like color distribution and saturation.
Well, we forgot to mention you rinsed out the conditioner.
Yes, all the conditioner.
Talk a little bit about that, because as you mentioned, sometimes I see a lot of curly-haired people that are like, oh, just leave in the conditioner, and then they start to put styling product and stuff right on top.
It's an old curly hair way of working with hair.
I mean, again, I think it was when there weren't enough good
Yeah.
products. It was just like, well,
You had to use what you use.
you might as well put mayonnaise in there, right? It's like put whatever you think is going to make it like, moisturized.
And you had products that were not as effective. I know this was taught to me back in 2010.
I mean, can I tell you what? In 1999, we used to use Nivea
Ooh.
hand cream. We used a lot of hand cream because it was like the richest thing that you could put in the hair.
And
Yeah.
I want to say this. You don't want all that richness
Yeah.
in tight curls. All that richness does is repel water. And so we have to completely shift our minds about how we think about moisture and how we think about tight curls. Clean hair absorbs. And you don't want it to absorb too much either. You want it to absorb some water. You want to put a styler on it with hold that has the humectant power to get some of the humidity from the atmosphere. Or if you're in an arid climate, you want something that's going to protect the water in the hair. And then you want to come back, and if you need to adjust with a topper, which is how we use the I Create definition. It's humid here in Murfreesboro, so we add a little bit of I Create definition to condense that hair down, to provide some protection for climate, to add a little bit more ability for that hair to smooth. And so when we think about our stylers, they're all tools, and you just have to know which tools to choose. But now in 2023, we have amazing products and amazing formulas that we don't need to leave the conditioner in. A good quality conditioner is going to leave everything it needs to leave, even if you rinse it all out.
So I think it's become really clear for me. So what you're saying is leaving in these Niveas and, even today, great conditioners, it makes it so that the hair can't attract the moisture because it's
Yes.
coated.
Yes.
Whereas when it's clean and the conditioner is out, then it's ready to absorb. Then the in this case, the I Create Hold, and
That
then
humectant gel, that aloe-based gel. You saw how thick that was?
Yeah.
And think about
It absorbed
aloe.
that.
It absorbs
Yeah.
the water. And so
Right.
you have more water. So that hair is able to be hydrated, not just lubricated. And that's what we've been doing a lot of times,
Right.
just lubricating hair. You think about, this is an old reference, oilcloth. You put oil and you put oil and you put oil on a cloth, eventually it's waterproof. And that is what a lot of our clients have been doing to their hair, and that's what some of us
That's a perfect analogy. That's a perfect analogy, and I get it. Yeah. All right, so we're going to head back over to our model, who's under this incredible dryer. I know many of you are very fascinated about the Darth Vader helmet.
Susan, come help me, because I don't want to break your things. It's like,
Bum bum ba bum bum ba bum bum ba bum.
okay, I was like, I don't know if it lifted up, if it's like...
So perfect definition from roots to tips.
How it goes under the dryer is how it's going to emerge from the dryer. If it's frizzy in the initial setting, it's going to be frizzy in the styling.
And this is the cast stage. You've really set in the cast.
Yep, she could stay under there a little bit longer because she's still a little damp throughout here. But for time's sake, I'm going to show you how I diffuse tight curls. So come on over with me.
So Norm, this is what you normally, after the process of distributing the product, you then go ahead and go under the dryer, and this is your normal dryer, one that we're probably more used to. But today we had the special Star Wars dryer. And now, when you feel that hair is like 60% dry, is that enough? Or
I take it to 90.
90.
We just don't have the ability to do that today.
Okay.
So we're going to do it. Now that she's casted, we can do whatever. If she was a client who wanted really kind of
Oh, yeah.
full hair, this is where I would do it. I would not do it while she was 100% wet. Like, this is a good about 60. She's still real damp at those roots. So I'm going to take this diffuser. Okay, so she got is this my dryer or somebody else's dryer?
I took your diffuser.
Okay, I was like, wait, she got a purple diffuser like me? All right, oh, so this is the professional Dyson. I have a consumer. All right, so I'm going to take it. I'm a high heat, high air.
So why high heat, high air? I think a lot of times people think, keep the airflow really low so it doesn't make it frizzy. What's the theory here?
With the Dyson, it's not going to frizz.
Yeah.
Now, if you have another dryer, you have to put that air door down.
Because with this, really no air. You can't feel much airflow, just heat.
Yep. So
I think the Dyson diffuser really has made it possible for a lot of people to get better results with curl. Do you agree?
Yes,
Yeah.
People like, what's the alternative to a Dyson? Any other dryer? Because if you're not going to get a Dyson, just get a dryer.
Right. Right.
So I'm hovering. I'm going kind of up and down. I don't want to go into her hair. If she was longer, I wouldn't want to do this. I'm going in, kind of opening that hair up. And so you see, I'm not disturbing her curl. I'm not disturbing her set. She's casted. This actually just makes that cast a little firmer, so feel that. Just after that little bit of high heat, high air, she's more casted.
Right.
So
Just sapped it in.
Yep, I don't need to do too much. This maybe is a 5, maybe 10-minute process of working through that hair. I'm going along that strand, up and down, going in here. Now, once she's fully dry, I'm going to show you a little trick. If you want to leave it a bit more volume but still want longevity, just take your diffuser off. Stand back. I like to lower the heat for this. I'll lower the air one.
Is this kind of softening the cast a little bit?
It's not really softening the cast.
No.
It's giving her some air at the root. This is more aeration than softening the cast. If I want to soften the cast, I would scrunch her a little bit, but I don't want to soften her cast.
So the air won't do it. It's just the tension from the hand. Do you ever use the comb attachment for the Dyson and lift the root? No?
I don't. I don't want to lift the root. I just want to get some air at the root.
Okay.
Because if I lift the root, that's going to comb out the definition she has there. And so she's going to end up with an afro in definition.
Right.
And I think she'd be a little mad at me for that. But I do love the comb attachment when I'm doing the blowout. I don't do blowouts professionally anymore, but on myself, it is one of the best tools that I've ever had because I can do everybody else's hair. I'm not that great doing my own. So there, I'm just getting her some aeration at that root. Same way as if we would go through and round brush going out. I'm going to lift her root up, dry her more at that root just for a little bit of lift.
Now, can you talk to us a little bit about what you teach in terms of cutting? Do you always cut dry hair? Do you cut wet? Do you cut wet and dry? Can you just sum up maybe your approach, or is it very kind of wide open for you?
Dry only.
Okay.
Dry only. Reason why I cut dry only, and she done. But the reason why I cut dry only is I want you to take a look. Thank you. At her hair, she has one curl pattern here. She has a completely different curl pattern back here, and even more different curl patterns down here. Now, for a cohesive shape, if we were to stretch her out or when she was wet, move her curls are going to spring back differently. Now, when we define them, I didn't use any tools like a brush to stretch her curls out and ribbon them or twirl it or do anything else. This is her natural curl.
It's the real.
Just defined.
Yeah.
And so if I cut from here, I can give her a precise shape. And when I'm thinking about tight curl cutting, I'm thinking about 3 dimensions. I have a degree in art. I have a bachelor's in fine art and painting from Florida A&M University. So I think about things in art terms. And so tight curls are sculpture. I'm looking at the 3-dimensional shape of this hair. This is the flattest her hair will ever be. I know on days 3, 4, and 5, she's going to lift up like this. So that is exactly what I'm cutting for. I'm cutting for that shape that lives in space.
And then do you literally kind of cut curl by curl?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Okay.
I use fundamental cutting theory. So when we think about parting, planes of the head, the 4 ways we cut hair, 1 length, graduation, layering, over direction, we are applying all of that to tight curls. If I cut her curl by curl, we would be in this haircut for 3 hours.
Again, it seems to be, again, there's so many different ways to do things and we embrace them all.
We do.
But it does seem like a lot of what I've heard is about, the process taking like 8 hours
It does not.
to cleanse and condition and cut.
Yeah.
Where for you,
to me, that is a lack of skill. We can I do some curl by curl cutting once we've done the frame.
Right, just
and
to define.
Cutting, just to say, okay, this one little curl is doing something here. Let me kind of fix that there. But if I can think about, here's the plane of her head. Here's how I want the back to look. Here's my plane here. I can cut that angle, cut that line, just as I would with straight hair.